Welcome back, everyone. Today, we are going to be doing another deep dive. And as always, I'm super excited. Today, we're going to be looking at something kind of different, kind of a unique source.
Yeah, I was intrigued when you sent this over to me. Text Calais. It's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, basically, it's just this document full of definitions, like just definitions for everyday words. Super simple words, actually.
Right. Like advantage, choice, even community, words we use all the time, but it's like we rarely actually like stop and think about what they really mean.
Exactly. It's so easy to just take these words for granted. Like they're just these little building blocks of language. But I think Text Calais really challenges us to see them as more than that, to see them as like these foundational concepts.
Yeah. They really are when you think about it. Like so much of our understanding of like more complex ideas, it really comes down to having a solid grasp on these simple words.
Okay, so I'm totally on board with this deep dive now. So let's just jump right in. How does Text Calais approach defining these seemingly basic words?
Well, let's take advantage, for instance. It's a word we hear a lot, right?
For sure.
But the way Tex Calais defines it, it really emphasizes the importance of strategy. It's not just about, being in a good position. It's about actively understanding your strengths, your weaknesses, even the weaknesses of your opponent.
Oh, interesting. So it's like a chess game
And
almost.
exactly, you got to recognize where you have that upper hand, right? To
Yeah.
be able to make that successful move, you have to be able to like seize that opportunity.
That reminds me of this time actually when I was negotiating to buy a used car. I mean, the seller was really pushing hard for me to buy this one specific model, but I'd done my research,
Yeah.
you know, and I knew the resale value on that car wasn't great.
Ah, so you had some insider knowledge.
I did. And having that knowledge, that really gave me an advantage in that whole negotiation process.
There you go. See? Tex Calais reminds us that recognizing your advantage is often the first step to making a good decision. Any decision, really.
That's so true. Okay, so moving on. The document also defines words like dead, ghost, and survive. Those seem like some pretty heavy concepts, for something that's supposed to be a simple list of definitions.
Right. It is kind of interesting, like how Tex Calais tackles these
Mhm.
existential themes, because the definitions themselves are pretty straightforward, but like they kind of force you to stop and think about the different ways that cultures and societies interpret these concepts. Like take ghost for instance.
Yeah.
It's not a universal concept. Some cultures they see ghosts as these benevolent guides, right? While others they view them as these like malevolent spirits.
Yeah.
Totally different.
That's so true. And even just the word survive, right? I mean, it has such different meanings depending on the context. Like surviving a natural disaster, that's completely different from surviving a tough work week. But we use the same word.
Exactly. And those interpretations though, they shape everything. Our values,
Oh.
our rituals, our traditions around death and the afterlife.
It's really remarkable how much these simple words can reveal about our shared human experience. You know what I mean? Like the things we all grapple with, no matter where we're from.
Okay, so I'm also curious about how Tex Calais approaches the words individual and community because I feel like those are two concepts that are like constantly being debated these days.
You're right. They're definitely intertwined, aren't they? And text Calais, I think it defines these words in a way that really highlights that interplay between like your own personal identity and like your sense of belonging. It suggests that individuals, they're both shaped by, but also contribute to the communities that they're a part of.
Okay, so like think about your own identity. How much of that is influenced by like your family,
Yeah,
your friends, even your online communities?
a lot, probably.
Right. Like for me,
Right.
my love for cooking, like that came directly from my family. We always gathered in the kitchen growing up. It was just part of who we were. And so it became a part of who I am. Right. And that shared experience of cooking, that also strengthens the bonds that you have with your family, right? Like it makes that community even stronger.
That's such a good point. It's like a feedback loop almost.
Uh,
Okay, so I feel like we could talk about this forever, but we got to keep moving. Text Cully also delves into like some of the more challenging aspects of life. It defines words like cause, escape, face, fright, and upset.
right. Life can be tough.
For sure.
And I think that definition of cause, that one's particularly interesting to me.
Oh, why is that?
Well, because it really stresses the importance of understanding those cause and effect relationships. Like when you can identify the cause of a problem, you're so much better equipped to actually find a solution.
So it's not just about like reacting to a situation. It's about understanding why that situation happened in the first place.
Exactly. You got to get to the root of it.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, and how does that tie into like the definition of choice?
Well, I mean, we might not always be able to control the situations that we're in, right? But Text Call it reminds us that we always have a choice in how we respond.
That's really empowering when you think about it. Like, even in those really difficult circumstances, we still have agency.
We do.
Okay, so kind of nearing the end here, the document also defines words like distance, follow, reach, and return. What do you make of those?
I see those definitions like almost as metaphors for communication.
Oh, interesting. Tell me more about that.
Well, like, think about it. Distance, right? That represents like the gap between individuals or even like between ideas.
Okay.
And then follow. That implies like understanding and
Yeah.
engagement.
Got it.
Reach. That suggests successful communication. Like that moment when a message truly connects with someone.
And then return.
Return speaks to like that ongoing dialogue. That's what deepens understanding. Back and forth, back and forth.
It's like a journey we take together almost when we communicate.
I love that.
Okay, and finally, text call A ends with a definition of wise.
Ah, yes.
Why? And it links that concept of wisdom to um, weather and voice. I thought that connection was super intriguing.
It is. What's so fascinating about it, I think, is that it really highlights the importance of like adaptability in communication. Like just as we adjust our behavior to different weather conditions, a wise communicator, they adapt their voice to suit the situation and the audience, of course.
So wisdom isn't just about what you say, it's about how you say it and when you say it.
Exactly. It's the whole package.
Wow. Okay, I feel like my brain is officially full. What an incredible deep dive.
That was a good one.
I know, right? I mean, we've explored so much, from like the strategic implications of advantage to the really profound ways different cultures interpret death. Who knew that such simple words could spark such like complex conversations?
It's true. This whole exploration has really highlighted, I think, just how foundational these everyday words are to, the way we think, the way we communicate, the way we interact with the world around us.
They're the bedrock of everything. Okay, so as we wrap up here, I want to leave you all with a little thought-provoking question. And it's inspired, of course, by Tex Calais' definition of wise. How can you use language wisely in your own life? How can you adapt your voice to better understand the world, connect with others, and make those informed choices? Something to think about as you go about your day, encountering all those seemingly simple words that shape our lives.
Words have power, that's for sure.
They really do. Okay, well, on that note, thanks for joining us for this deep dive. We'll catch you next time.
See you then.